stage 8 of the Dakar 2007 and problems, but he said to Estevay, there's no service tonight either. Into the Ergs, over 200 kilometres of sand dunes today, making life tough even for the experts. And there's more tomorrow. Former leader Carlos Sainz struggled through the day with no major service. Will his car make it through another one?
Oh, yeah.
Ticit was founded in around 1150. It's known for its traditional architecture with beautiful decorative mosques, the most ornate in the whole of Mauritania. The town's also home to a small museum reputed to be the oldest in Africa, where a 600-year-old copy of the Quran is being restored. In its heyday, it was a rich town, a salt centre, and over 5,000 people lived here. Now, it's more like 100. Today's stage will probably change the face of the rally. It's a classic Dakar test. 590 kilometres featuring almost 200 k's of sand dune hell. And it's a marathon stage, so there's no service for those that survive today before tomorrow's tough test. A beautiful early morning start. The ride from Dakar to Ticit was never going to be an easy one. This was one test that particularly the riders feared. There was bound to be a lot of sand, and for those that don't have the technique of the professionals, a lot of struggle. But a warm send-off first for rider number 187. He's the Mauritanian, Mohamed Zidane Soued Ahmed, with local fans here to cheer him on. Before the sand, it was a fast but twisty piste with loads of rocks waiting to catch the unwary. And a dust storm blew up. Ahmed is having trouble finding where he's going. He's even wondering why on earth he's bothering. So we're right in the middle of the desert here.
Dakar qui veut s'aventurer.
It's hard.
Dakar, regarde ce qui t'attend.
But it's an adventure, this Dakar.
Je suis pas dans un jacuzzi.
Well, as the dust clouds swept across, it was difficult to continue with the navigation and watch the road. Plenty of traps for the unwary. A few tricky navigation sections early on would have caught out plenty of first-time riders, many of whom still remain. There wasn't really time to enjoy much of the scenery, alien though it is to many European eyes. Early leader was Frenchman Cyril Desprez. After 3 torrid days at the beginning of the rally with problem after problem, once they've got into Mauritania, he's really started to come into his own. And the man on the blue KTM, the odd mistake aside, was certainly making the early running. Finding his way through the locals, being chased by the following pack. Estevay, Oliver Zeta, and not far behind him, the man who leads them all, Mark Coma. Well, Coma may have been keeping his powder dry in the early sections, but he was not about to let his overall lead get even smaller or possibly vanish altogether. He was pushing on. Today's stage is a marathon. That means there are no full service trucks at the ends. They can rely on the assistance of their T4 trucks, which compete in the trucks category, and they will have spare engines, gearboxes, brakes, wheels, tyres, pretty much everything the riders need. And after today's stage, that's important. Most will have chosen a tyre that combined good abilities in sand with the ability to withstand rocks in the early and later sections. That means that they wear pretty quickly on the stony ground. First to fuel at checkpoint 1, 200 kilometres in, Cyril Desprez. The riders have a 15-minute neutral time here between checking in and checking out, so fueling can be done safely and they can rest a little. And Coma saying that stones here have made it pretty tricky. Thankfully we're here at refueling, so now I've got to get ready for the second part of the stage. 2 refueling points today. It was such a long day, and it's not just the bikes that need topping up with energy. Problems for Esteve, his chain a little loose, and water carrier David Castor helps him sort it out before it's time to hit the road again. Castor tightening spokes, making final checks for the next push through the dunes. Well, we've worn the tyres down a bit. We've got to think of that really, because it's a marathon stage. There's no assistance at the other end. Just got to do it ourselves. Well, as the stage progressed, Castor in trouble. Esteve also slowing, and he, it turned out, had a gearbox problem. He couldn't find the top gears. Oliver Seta checked that he was okay. Not much he could do. And for Esteve, it was going to turn into a long and wretched day. Castor pulls alongside. Quick conversation, and he's waved on. Castor free to ride on his own, as Esteve has to plod along at near walking pace. So it was a tough day for Isidre Esteve. His challenge has certainly been blunted on stage 8. But Coma, again, spurred on perhaps by Desprez's early pace, attacked very hard through the dunes, and particularly on the rocky pistes towards the end of the stage, he was really pushing, with 2 badly damaged wheel rims by the time he got into service. And as for Desprez, well, he again just couldn't quite match the pace of the Spaniard. Coma is determined to hang on to this rally. Despite the sandstorm and poor visibility, he managed to overhaul Desprez, staying with him to the end of the stage. But a good day in the end for Desprez, moving up from 4th after stage 7 to 2nd position now. Coma, however, extends his overall advantage, as his main rivals early on have fallen by the wayside. It's going to be a repeat of last year, where Desprez chased Coma all the way to the coast. Evidence of the struggle, damaged wheel rims on either end of Coma's machine at the second refueling point. His 3rd stage win marked Coma ahead of Cyril Desprez by 10 minutes in the end, but Johannes Ullevarseta also had a good day in 3rd. And Coma now nearly an hour clear at the top of the field. Difficult stage, said Mark Coma afterwards, which became even more tricky after the sandstorm. Had a good starting position at the beginning of the stage, but there are a lot of stones hidden in the sand, so that made life pretty tricky. Second part was sandier. That was easier. I managed to catch Cyril and then rode with him to the finish. We made it through together.